from Mobile Tech Review, and here's one of the most exciting Android phones of the year. This is the Samsung Galaxy Note 7. Now, I've always been a Note person, you know that since the very first one. I like the bigger screen, I like the pen, all that sort of stuff, but it's grown up and it's matured. And you could think, oh my God, we're on the 7th generation. No, it's only really the 6th because they skipped the Samsung Galaxy Note 6 name to get it in line with the Samsung Galaxy S7 line. Anyway, after 6 generations, what's left to do, right? The 5 was okay. It disappointed some folks that didn't have the micrSD card slot, some other things. This one is just really nice. You kind of wonder, what could they do next? It has perfect fit and finish in terms of how it feels in the hand and how it's put together. It's the most comfortable Note yet, and I've used every single generation of it. A lot of features inside. Yeah, we have some gee-whiz ones like the iris scanner, so you can look at your eyeball and so you don't have to put in a password and even use a fingerprint if you want. That's nice, you know, but in the end, what really counts here is you have a very fast phone. You have an improved TouchWiz experience, so it's not so overblown anymore. You have a very ergonomic phone, and it is the smallest 5.7-inch phone on the market. So if you like a big screen, but some of the others were too big to handle, this one's appealing too. The only gotcha, the price tag. You know, it's as expensive as an iPhone 6s Plus with 64 gigs of storage, which this one also has. In fact, this is a little bit more. It averages around $879 in the United States for the full retail price. Then again, there's nothing quite like this phone. So if you have the money, or if, like many people, you're just doing the carrier payment plan, so it's kind of like whatever once you decide what monthly payment you can afford, this is certainly one of the best phones on the market. We're going to look at it now. There's a lot inside here, so let's run down the stuff real quickly. You have the infrared front iris scanner here, 5 megapixel front camera, 12 megapixel rear camera, again, same as in the Galaxy S7 line. We have dual band Wi-Fi 802.11 AC with Wi-Fi calling. You have voice over LTE. Of course, you have LTE 4G inside as well. NFC works with Samsung Pay, works with Android Pay. QHD Super AMOLED 5.7-inch display, Samsung's best yet, at least according to DisplayMate, who's undeniably the experts in really exquisitely measuring everything about a display. It's bright, it has a super bright outdoor mode, and of course there's the S Pen feature too. For those of you who like to take notes, do artwork, simply write notes on screen, even on the sleeping screen, you can do that. It's all pretty well done in terms of convenience. In fact, those little things like being able to take a note on screen even when it is sleeping, you plug in the USB 3.0 USB-C actually cable, and you can see a little ripple at the bottom to let you know you plugged it in. The internals, you know, we're not even going to spend a lot of time on horsepower and performance here because it's the same Qualcomm Snapdragon 820 CPU with Adreno 530 graphics. So you're going to see in every flagship, and we have seen in every flagship so far, and the benchmark's about the same. 4 gigs of RAM, that's fine with me. 64 gigs of storage because it is a Note phone and it's supposed to have that little extra, so that's standard. In fact, that's the only amount. But there's also a microSD card slot. It's back. So is water resistance. It's here now, just like the Galaxy S7 line, IP68. You can splash it. You can get, you know, jog in the rain, it's going to be fine. You can even immerse it in up to 1.5 meters of water for a few minutes. You get the idea. This is not for scuba diving, but it's not going to fall apart if it gets a little wet. Now, when I say that a phone is one of the best you can currently buy for the high-end market available in the United States and really around the world right now, you know, phones aren't something that you buy in a vacuum. There's a lot of competition here. So we're going to talk about some of the other phones that this goes up against and what makes it such a good phone overall. So as we look down here, we have, of course, our lovely Note 7. For those of you who like big phones, this is my personal Nexus 6P, a phone that I love, but it's also a 5.7-inch display, and it's a clean Android experience. So for those of you who hate any software overlays, of course, that's always going to be a good choice. But it's also a huge phone. Now, I have big hands, and I don't always wear little skinny pocket things, but it's a big phone. And one of the things Samsung did here is they made this so easy to hold and so comfortable that even women with smaller hands could probably use this without being discomfited, shall we say. Obviously, you're going to have an adequate pocket for this sort of thing. The same thing goes for the LG V10. Nice phone with a great camera, but a huge beast of a phone. And iPhone 6s Plus falls in that category too. It's only a 5.5-inch display, and you know, I really felt like I needed to use the Apple Watch with it because it was just too much to fit in a small pocket or in my hand comfortably to carry around and hold. Now, there are a few things you could say that are good, too, about the LG V10. For example, you can take this back off and access the battery. The Samsung Galaxy Note 7 isn't perfect. Like many phones, including the Nexus 6P, the battery is sealed inside. That makes it's smaller. It makes it more attractive, so that's why they do that. Then there are phones like the Moto Z and the Moto Z Force. Now, this also is a pretty large and heavy phone, the Z Force, but you do get a humongous battery. Smaller display, but a footprint about the same size as the 5.7-inch Note. Of course, its claim to fame is the fact that you have these removable backs. You can take this off here and swap on a projector if you want, an extended battery. Pretty good magnet holding it on there. It does get a little thinner. at least when you take the back off. So while this is modularity done right and done the best so far, do you need a modular phone? So far, it doesn't seem like consumers are jumping on that feature. But anyway, still bigger and heavier. You do get better battery life, though. Then there's the HTC 10. Poor HTC. They keep making nice phones, and people kind of seem to be ignoring them still. If you like a metal back better, this is nice. The Samsung, however, gives you a more vibrant display, arguably a better camera. The HTC 10 has a pretty darn good camera, too, so it's close. And then there is Samsung's own competition. This is the Galaxy S7 Edge and the Galaxy S7. Now, at first, people thought, oh, well, with the Note, what we're doing here is we're having an S7 Edge Part 2 with a little bit bigger screen. Yes, the screen is a little bit bigger on this. Yes, you can choose the blue color now on the Note. But what they've done is really improve the Edge experience. The Edge was a little too edgy. This is the phone that I both loved and hated because the screen wraps around so far that I was always accidentally activating things on screen, or I wasn't sure which touch it meant, the one I was poking with my finger or my sides here. I have a pretty decent sized hand, so I can wrap around a lot. So I have to be very careful how I hold this. Also harder to pick up because the metal frame is towards the bottom if you have it laying on its back, and it's pretty thin. So what they did here is they refined the idea. You still have enough room to have the little edge pull out, which is a very useful thing to have, but the glass wraps around less. It still looks pretty, it's still attractive, it sets it apart in terms of design, but I don't find that I'm accidentally pressing the edges. So most refined design yet. Also, metal strip is centered, it's very symmetrical. It's a little bit bigger. It makes it much easier to pick up from the table, which was another challenge with the S7 Edge. You have to kind of wrap your fingers all the way around. Lastly, as we move over to this section here, this is sort of like the history of the Note Museum. Now, I wish I had the Note 4 as well, because for some people, that's the cult classic favorite there. It still had expandable storage. It was moving towards a classier design before we got to the current generation. So here's the Galaxy Note 3 with that faux leather back. You remember that? It did have a removable battery. It didn't look as classy by any means, and it is a wider phone, so it was still harder to hold. Now we have the Note 5, which remember is the previous generation phone because there is no Note 6. So this was the beginning of the glass design that went along with the Samsung Galaxy S6. It's not as symmetrical, so aesthetically speaking, not all there. You don't get the curved glass on the front. I leave that up to you as to how important that is to you in terms of how it looks. This is still a pretty darn good phone, but honestly, this has gotten even easier to hold. And that makes a big difference to me. And the pen sensitivity is increased. You get the iris scanner. You get the updated camera here. So there are things to like. Although if you own a Note 5, given how expensive these phones are, I could understand if you skip this upgrade generation. Lastly, there is the budget competition. And this is the Honor 8 by Huawei, which I think has an even more pretty iridescent back finish on it if you feel like a blue phone. A lot less expensive, starts around $400, but you only get a 1080p display. Obviously, you're not getting an iris scanner. This display is not as vivid. It has a dual camera setup, which is pretty cutting edge, shall we say, but it really doesn't outshoot the Galaxy phone, but it is a lot less expensive. But I don't think the Honor 8 directly competes because it's a 5.2-inch phone. It's not for you folks who want phablety size. The OnePlus 3 would be it if you're looking at phablets. You are getting a higher resolution display with the Note and a couple of other amenities too. So you get something for your money. And, you know, the thing is a lot of people do buy their phones from carriers and they don't go and buy them on the internet. So the Galaxy still has that kind of mainstream appeal for most folks. Now that you've had the mini version of the mother of all Smackdowns, let's talk about the display, because that's one of the big selling points for Samsung Galaxy high-end phones. 5.7-inch QHD, that means 2560 by 1440, Super AMOLED display, latest generation. Fantastic saturation here, excellent brightness, outdoor mode. If you're running it on auto settings, will go 600 nits or better. Now, you have to have an auto mode because I don't want you to have it on manual brightness and do that all the time and tank your battery life. So if you need that super duper brightness, this is visible outdoors. This is visible if you're wearing polarized sunglasses. And it's a little bit of a tweak from the Galaxy S7 Edge, which I'm bringing in here. Now, this is a very vivid photo that I took with the Sony RX1R on a beautiful evening. And you can see, other than the difference in the screen size, a little bit of extra definition here. Every generation of Samsung's AMOLED displays does get better. So this one is the most color accurate yet as well, which is something that's important for people like me who shoot photography, do photography very seriously. It's a sharp looking display. Even if you worry about AMOLEDs not being as sharp in terms of their pixel matrix, you've got enough resolution there that it's doing fine. It's a stunning display. It's bright. The viewing angles are good. And now for those of you who hated the little bit of edge refraction, it's reduced because the edge is actually, well, not as pronounced. It's smaller. So it's a stunning display. And even more interestingly, if we turn it off now, we have the sleeping display. So this is going to show me all of my notifications. So it's really handy. You got your Twitter, you got your Facebook, you got your Instagram, the weather, all sorts of things like that. Here in Texas, we have wild weather alerts all the time. It's good to just look at the phone. It doesn't use much power because AMOLED uses no power when it's displaying black. So the only power used is for a little bit of lettering that you're seeing there. It's a nice little touch. Another thing is the S Pen. Of course, that sets the Note phones apart. Some of you use this feature, some of you don't. It's a feature that I love. We have the pen here. When I pull it out, it knows. And it's ready for me to start writing a note like that. So you don't even have to wake up the phone. So you just think of something and you just start writing it. Oh, buy bread, for example. Whatever it is, doodle, notes, your next novel, you can do it. The pen is color matching, obviously, to the body. It has one clicky, pointy thing. Backwards compatible with older Note pens is still Wacom EMR. Up to 4,096 levels of pressure sensitivity now. That's double the Note 5. Can you even tell the difference beyond a certain number of pressure levels? It feels a little silkier, a little bit easier to get the graduation of line width that you want. Is it really important? I mean, and I review every pen-enabled laptop and tablet on the market. I wouldn't say so. That it really matters that much. But the pen experience is as good as ever. And now it is reversible. There was a big brouhaha with the Note 5 because you can only put it in facing one way. Now you can put it in whichever way you want. Now when the phone is turned on, you get the usual S Pen experience going on here. So you can create a note, do a smart selection right on the screen. Translate. This uses a, translation feature, but it's one word at a time, so be careful because when you string together the translations of one word, you might actually end up with a sentence that doesn't mean what it should mean. So if you want to create a note, there you go. As easy as that. Still have those little funny sound effects, so it sounds like pen scratching on paper. And it's quick. There's really just about no latency. I have terrible handwriting. Sorry about that. So you got text input, you have pen input. If you choose brush, you can choose from an infinite number of colors using that color selector there. And if you want to change the thickness of the lines, you can do so here. Some of the features that we knew from the old version are actually not here now. We can't choose between different cute little stationery papers. If you're drawing, you get no lines. If you're writing, you get lines. You can still do things like insert images. You can insert voice notes, that sort of thing too. And honestly, this digitizer is good enough that you can do actual real drawings like this. It's one of the things I love because I do digital art, that you can actually do like some pretty serious sketching over here, as I paint with the wrong color at the moment and give it a highlight where it shouldn't have. It does a very good job, and you've got layering of color and layering of texture going on here. And this is just the Samsung Notes app. You don't have to do all of your artwork just in a Notes program. Of course, there are programs like Autodesk Sketchbook, ArtRage. ArtRage is really actually very cool if you're into art. You can see the different ink textures and that sort of thing there, and the level of pressure sensitivity is lovely, and it's keeping up pretty well with my stroke speed too here. So, yes, that's modern art at its best, isn't it? But you're getting the idea here. If you want a pocket sketchbook, this is it. If you still like to take notes by hand, this is your little pocket notepad. So, honestly, on the market, there is no real strong competition for this sort of feature if you want it. TouchWiz has grown up. For those of you who haven't used a Samsung phone in years, it really is greatly improved, particularly on the Note 7. It's an improvement over the S7 and the S7 Edge in terms of how they're going with Google's material design and lightening up the look. You got your app drawer here. You can choose to have the little background thing that Samsung does if you like to have it. I like to go with just the straight kind of clean icons. I like a cleaner approach to Android. I used to despise TouchWiz. I don't anymore. And the user interface is fast. This is a Snapdragon 820 here with plenty of RAM. So it should be fast, and indeed it is fast. And Samsung has done a couple of things, like their multi-window approach to multitasking, so you can split your applications and have them in floating windows even if you want, which is pretty sweet. Definitely one of the things that Samsung did right from the beginning, and they have a settings drawer with quick access here, which a lot of folks, even Google, started to add. Now, they can go over the top here. If you go all the way here, you can have too many of these icons, but you can customize and choose just the ones that you want, and then you have access to your brightness right here on screen as well. And some of these are actually thoughtful things. Something before, Samsung kind of bulldozed with Disney colors over the UI, and a lot of it wasn't really particularly useful. So if you have Wi-Fi here, instead of having to press and hold to go to Wi-Fi settings, there's a little drop down, and here's all of my known and available Wi-Fi access points right there, so I don't have to do that. Wi-Fi calling, on, off switch right there. It's well done. And if you go to the full settings menu, now this is going to be a shock to those of you who are used to the old Samsung way of doing things with the 4 tabs worth of settings. It was just over the top. Or you could have the linear view with many, many. This is a lot more like stock Android now. So you got your blue light filter control for your display, by the way, if you don't want too much blue light at night because it might disturb your sleeping patterns. You can choose the scaling size for the UI, all that sort of thing. Now, obviously, you're going to have more things than you would on other Android phones because there's just a lot of features here. You've got your always-on display. You've got the night clock. You can have one or the other. You can't have both at the same time. How you like your icons to look. Like I said, you can have the frame around them, or you can have them pretty much stock like I'm going with, your content scaling. There's all sorts of stuff here. And they've got little helpers here. If you're looking for things that you think might be here but aren't, like Smart Stay. Yes, I do like to have Smart Stay on. So I'm looking at the phone. It knows I'm looking at the phone. It's not going to turn off the screen in the middle of me watching a YouTube video or reading something on a web page. It's actually not bad, folks. It's actually pretty nice. And then you've got the edge screen here, which has your choice. You can customize which panels you have on here. You can have things like the weather. You can have your App Quick Launcher, which is always handy so you don't clutter up your home screen. The ruler, and it also doubles as you've got a control down here as your flashlight quick access and a compass with your latitude and longitude location. You can have Yahoo News, CNN News, all sorts of little things on the side if you want there. It's pretty well done. It's pleasant. So how about sound? And that leads back to settings to a certain extent, too. That's why we're still here. But we have the usual bottom speaker here. And Samsung phones have okay audio. They're not that wonderful front-facing stereo kind of sound kind of thing you're going to get from the Nexus 6P, that HTC boom sound kind of stuff. But it's louder, actually, and a little bit fuller than even the S7 Edge. And then we've got sound quality and effects here, too. You've got control over your equalizer. You've got audio upscaling, 2-band Pro concert hall. Now, some of these are only enabled when you're using headphones, so we don't have headphones plugged in right now, so they're not turned on. If you like reverb, you got your concert hall. You've got adaptive sound. So there's a lot of stuff going on here, and through headphones and through the speaker, the audio is actually not that bad. We'll play our Moto Z and Moto Z Force videos so you can hear that. About 3/4 volume here. This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and here are some pretty exciting phones. This is the Moto Z. And what can I say? For a phone, it sounds fine. It's loud enough to hear if you're in a home environment, someplace that's not too loud. Otherwise, you are going to want to use headphones. This is not an amazing speaker. It's a passable speaker, and it is louder than the S7 and the S7 Edge. And right next to that speaker right here, we have the USB-C port. Finally, they've moved to USB-C, so you get a USB-C cable and the usual Samsung fast charger in the box. And our headphone jack. Yay, headphone jacks are still a thing. They do still exist. This supports fast charging, obviously, through the wired charger. It can also do wireless fast charging. No metal back here means it can do that easily built in. And it does charge quickly if you use Samsung's faster wireless charger, which has been on the market for a while now. Faster than the original not fast wireless charger. And this, I noticed, charges more quickly than the S7 Edge as well. So the refinements just seem to keep happening. Battery obviously sealed inside here. There's no way of opening this up. 3,500 milliamp battery. So that's 500 milliamps more than the Note 5 it replaces, but it's 100 milliamps less than the Galaxy S7 Edge. Probably because room for our little toothpick stylus, it takes up some of the space for the battery, that sort of thing. What's 100 milliamps among friends? You can't really tell the battery life between this and the S7 Edge. Honestly, it's an all-day phone with moderate use, and I use the phone pretty heavily. Given the large display size, the high resolution, the Snapdragon 820, the 64 gigs of storage inside, it's powering a lot. Plus, you got your micrSD card slot. Don't forget about that for cards up to 256 gigs. So it's a respectable all-day phone. Switching from the iPhone 6s Plus to this, I didn't feel like I was giving up oodles in battery life in the iPhone 6s Plus. It is one of the longer-running phones on the market. Front and rear cameras on this are the same as the S7 and the S7 Edge, which makes them arguably one of the best cameras on the market you can get on a phone. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on that as a result. You've got your HDR control right here, swapping front and back cameras on it, control for the flash, more settings. They simplified it a little bit here, so you can see less cluttered UI than Samsung used to have. So you can record video up to 4K. You've got tracking autofocus, shape correction. So, these lenses do distort, so that's going to correct for that. You can control. If for some reason you didn't want it to do that. It's easy to use if you want to swipe between auto and these modes. Boom, there it is. And if you want those fancy effects that they've always offered, there they are, swipe to that side. So it's pretty easy to use. The camera is quick to shoot, and picture quality is respectable there too. That's nice and sharp looking, actually. Very good in low light since there's in large pixel sensor sites. Great camera. Phone has a fingerprint scanner, which is not new for Samsung, and the home button is your fingerprint scanner. This has light up buttons down here, and let's touch the screen so you can see them. I'm not in love with the physical home button, honestly, but then again, I don't like fingerprint scanners on the back as much because you have to pick up the phone, stuff to use it. So it's something that I'll live with. What can I say? You may feel differently about that. There's also an iris scanner as well, and it supposedly works with folks who have eyeglasses and contact lenses. And I'm an eyeglass wearer. It's okay. It's a little hit or miss, and it tells you to hold the phone in a certain way to make sure your eyeball lines up with a point right there, holding it a little closer than you might want to. It does work actually most of the time, even with my eyeglasses. The thing is it takes an extra level of action. When the phone's off, you just touch the fingerprint scanner, you can unlock it. If you want to use the iris scanner, you actually have to swipe up and then swipe to the side to use the iris scanner. Why is that? Because you have your always on display. So Samsung didn't want it, so you pick up the phone to look at the always on display, and if it was always looking at you, it might unlock, and you wouldn't actually be able to read your always on display, would you? So that's the Samsung Galaxy Note 7, available now, and it's one of the most expensive phones on the market. So I leave it up to you as to whether you think all the nifty features and improvements are worth it. I will say that sometimes iterative design and improvement actually can bring together a device to make, holistically speaking, an excellent product. It's fast, it's responsive. The TouchWiz UI on top is now actually helpful a lot of the time. Gorilla Glass 5 front and back should mean that it's pretty safe if you don't want to use it without a case. It has excellent cameras. It has an iris scanner. It has a fingerprint scanner. You can choose which you use. Battery life on this, also very good. It does not get too hot on the back, which is always nice with today's slim phones. It's easy to hold. It's just kind of like pulled everything together except for the old, remember the IR blaster to control your TV? That's the only thing missing from this. It has just about every hardware feature you could ask for. And let's not forget the S Pen for note-taking and art experiences, and just making notations on web pages and anything else easy, which no other phone really offers. It's a good phone, folks. It's a really good phone.
Hola amigos, ¿cómo están? Un gusto saludarlos, soy Denec32, sean bienvenidos a este video. Hoy tenemos la revisión, la información y mi opinión del Samsung Galaxy Note 7. Así que quédense que ya comenzamos con este video. Vamos a comenzar esta revisión hablando un poco de las especificaciones técnicas y físicas de este dispositivo. De momento lo que podemos ver son 153.5 milímetros de alto por 73.9 milímetros de ancho. El grosor de este dispositivo apenas es de 7.9 milímetros, un peso de 169 gramos que tendríamos en nuestra mano. En la parte frontal, en la parte de arriba, encontraremos la cámara de 5 megapíxeles con una apertura focal de 1.7. Es la misma que incorpora el Samsung Galaxy S7 y S7 Edge. En el otro costado podemos ver el escáner de iris y aquí podremos ver las funciones de la pantalla Edge, que como sabemos aprovechan la parte curva de la pantalla. Esta pantalla del Galaxy Note 7 es una pantalla de 5.7 pulgadas QHD con una tecnología Super AMOLED. Nos deja un total de 518 píxeles por pulgada y como sabemos esta tecnología Super AMOLED pues hace que los colores se vean más saturados. En la parte frontal y en la parte trasera nos incorpora la protección Corning Gorilla Glass 5, que obviamente debe ser más resistente a arañazos para que, bueno, lo podamos meter en el bolsillo sin problema. El material de construcción con el cual se ha fabricado es aluminio AL7000, el cual es más resistente a sus anteriores hermanos. Dentro del dispositivo estaremos corriendo la última versión de Android 6.0.1 Marshmallow y probablemente pronto se actualice Android 7.0 Nougat. La interfaz que tenemos es Grace UX, es la nueva interfaz que Samsung ha cambiado y diferencia bastante entre el Galaxy S7 y el Galaxy Note 7. En la parte de abajo podemos encontrar el lector de huellas dactilar y también tenemos pues obviamente los botones táctiles que se iluminan y que podemos utilizar para retroceder o para abrir la multitarea. Ya finalmente en la parte de abajo pues vamos a encontrar el nuevo USB tipo C y el jack de 3.5 milímetros para los auriculares. Por la parte de arriba podemos ver la microSD y donde vamos a poder colocar nuestro SIM. Esto se abre gracias a la nueva llave que nos han incorporado debido a que el terminal es unibody. Simplemente podemos con una llavecita retirar esa bandeja para colocar nuestro SIM y nuestra microSD que se expande hasta 256 GB. Obviamente no se puede quitar la batería. En la parte de atrás podemos encontrar el flash y el pulsómetro. También tenemos la cámara dual pixel de 12 megapíxeles con una apertura focal 1.7 más OIS. Tenemos 64 GB de almacenamiento interno UFS 2.0 y obviamente como lo hemos dicho se puede expandir hasta 256 GB. Tenemos una batería de 3500 mAh y este teléfono cuenta con la certificación IP68, lo cual podemos sumergir, que obviamente no es del todo recomendable, pero sí en algún tipo de accidente que se nos llegara a caer a la piscina, al lavabo, pues sobrevivirá sin ningún problema. También cuenta con un S Pen mejorado con nuevas funciones que lo haremos más adelante. Bueno, pues voy a hablarte un poco de las especificaciones del Galaxy Note 7 de un modo que no sea tan técnico para que lo puedas entender y saber cómo te beneficia esto como usuario. En la pantalla tenemos 5.7 pulgadas con esta pantalla Quad HD, la cual es Edge, es decir que tiene la curvatura por la parte derecha tanto por la izquierda. La pantalla es AMOLED, quiere decir que los colores son más saturados y la resolución, me parece en estos momentos, es 2K. Nos deja un total de 518 píxeles por pulgada, lo cual refiere a que tendrás pues imágenes más nítidas, podrás ver videos en una calidad asombrosa. Hasta ahora y hasta la fecha no hay ninguna pantalla que se compare a la del Galaxy Note 7 o a la pantalla del S7 Edge. En cuanto al procesador, pues tenemos un Exynos 8890 de 4 núcleos corriendo a 2.3 GHz y 4 núcleos a 1.66 GHz. ¿Esto qué significa? Que el procesador tiene 4 núcleos corriendo a una velocidad mayor y otros 4 a una menor, pero esto le ayuda al dispositivo a que pueda ejecutar tareas. Quiere decir que en tu Galaxy Note 7 vas a poder abrir aplicaciones que obviamente son las tareas más rápidamente que en otros terminales. Por ejemplo, YouTube, al mismo tiempo vas a poder abrir Twitter, vamos a ver, también vamos a abrir Facebook y como puedes darte cuenta lo hace en un tiempo muy rápido. Aquí vamos a abrir el navegador de internet y también carga rapidísimo. De esto va de la mano los 4 GB de RAM LPDDR4. Esta RAM le ayuda al dispositivo pues a tener más aplicaciones abiertas. De este modo el dispositivo no se satura, no se calienta tan rápido y tampoco tiene que estar batallando en volver a abrir o a cargar las aplicaciones. Es decir, ya están cargadas, están abiertas y una vez que quieres volver a abrir pues lo hace bastante rápido. En cuanto al almacenamiento, el Galaxy Note 7 cuenta con 64 GB disponibles al usuario. Aquí vamos a entrar a almacenamiento en esta nueva interfaz del administrador que tiene este Galaxy Note 7. Tiene 64 GB disponibles en la memoria interna y bueno, aparte lo puedes expandir hasta 256 GB. Yo le he colocado una tarjeta simplemente de 16 GB, aquí la tenemos y bueno, creo que es suficiente almacenamiento. En esta nueva herramienta podemos ver la información de la batería debido a que el Galaxy Note 7 cuenta con 3500 mAh de batería, una batería que te va a alcanzar para finalizar el día pues correctamente, e incluso aquí tenemos otros modos, como por ejemplo ha incluido modo medio o modo máximo de ahorro de batería. En el modo medio nos dice que se va a limitar el brillo de la pantalla hasta el 90%, va a cambiar la resolución de la pantalla, que es un punto importante. Algo nuevo que vemos es que baja la resolución, es decir, ya no vas a poder reproducir contenido en 2K, sino que te va a bajar la resolución. También tenemos el rendimiento, va a bajar la velocidad con la que tu procesador se mueve pues al ejecutar tareas. De este modo va a ahorrar más batería y también va a impedir el uso de redes móviles en segundo plano, es decir, aplicaciones que se sincronizan mientras tu teléfono está apagado. Tenemos un modo máximo, este pues ya es un más extremo obviamente para ahorrar la mayor batería posible. Estos son en casos extremos de que no te encuentres cerca de casa y que quieras ahorrar pues mucha batería. La verdad es que es un punto positivo que cuente con esta herramienta. Tenemos aquí el administrador de RAM y también la seguridad, y además el ES Pen ha sido mejorado. Si algunos recuerdan, se reportaban errores con el ES Pen anterior en el cual los usuarios se equivocaban y lo metían así y dañaban al dispositivo. Ahora ya no se puede meter, lo ha solucionado Samsung y además han incorporado pues muchas otras funciones en este dispositivo, como por ejemplo aquí tenemos crear notas, selección inteligente para crear animaciones GIF de un video. Podemos traducir, es decir, si elegimos esto podemos elegir que de español nos lo traduzca a italiano y simplemente fijando el ES Pen sobre la frase pues nos convertirá o nos traducirá obviamente la palabra. En cuanto a las notas, esta aplicación de notas de Samsung se dice que llegará a los otros Samsung Galaxy Note. Esperemos que sí. Aquí podemos guardar notas, como ya sabemos, con texto o también con bolígrafo, entre lápiz y otro tipo de pinceles. Podemos elegir aquí los distintos colores y podemos empezar a dibujar. Esta nota la puedes guardar y compartir. Este Galaxy Note 7 cuenta con otra aplicación que se llama Pen Up, en la cual pues muchos artistas van compartiendo el trabajo que ellos hacen o dibujan con su ES Pen. Aquí podemos ver este gran trabajo que ha hecho este chico. Aquí vemos todos los dibujos. Parece increíble realmente que lo haya hecho con su ES Pen, pero bueno, sí, lo puedes hacer efectivamente con tu dispositivo. Otra función que incorpora el Galaxy Note 7 es la carpeta segura. Esta nueva función que simplemente funciona con una contraseña y nos sirve para guardar elementos importantes del teléfono, los cuales nunca se van a revelar en galería o en otros sitios. Vamos a ver que aquí hay que poner nuestro nick y una vez colocado le damos en realizar para que desbloquee el acceso. Aquí
Aquí podemos guardar desde imágenes, fotografías, contactos, correos, archivos o notas también que no queremos que nadie más vea, que sean privados. Por ejemplo, en la galería yo he guardado mi chile en nogada, el cual simplemente desde la galería lo puedes exportar aquí y nadie más puede verlo. Aquí lo podemos pues obviamente ordenar por álbumes, por historia, y esta carpeta segura la puedes desbloquear también. Bueno, vamos aquí a bloquearla, le damos un clic aquí y se bloquea para que nadie pueda acceder a ella. Para desbloquearla puedes usar el código o bien tu lector de iris para que te desbloquee. Una vez desbloqueada, pues tendrás acceso a todos estos archivos que tú tendrás guardados y que serán de uso personal. Una vez que retiras el ES Pen del dispositivo, aquí te va a permitir dibujar algo sobre la pantalla, la cual podrás dejar pues ahí pinchada para que puedas tenerla mientras desbloqueas el dispositivo. Puedes dibujar cualquier cosa, puedes dejar alguna nota, algún recordatorio, y esto lo tendrás siempre en tu Galaxy Note 7. Entre los principales cambios que hemos visto a comparación del Galaxy S7 Edge con este Galaxy Note 7, podemos ver que tiene una nueva interfaz en cuanto a la posición de temas. Aquí tenemos fondos y temas, y el Galaxy S7 tenía una distinta forma de acceder a fondos de pantalla, temas, pero el Galaxy Note 7 ha incorporado la función de poder descargar nuevos temas. Además, también podemos combinar esos temas con distintos packs de iconos, y por si fuera poco, los fondos de pantalla ya incluyen una especie de movimiento. Como pueden darse cuenta aquí, si seleccionan alguno de estos y lo ponen por ejemplo en pantalla de bloqueo y en pantalla de inicio, podrán darse cuenta que al desbloquear el dispositivo, como aquí lo estamos viendo, la imagen cambia en la tonalidad de azul a verde, y bueno, esto puede variar con distintas imágenes que tú le coloques al dispositivo, que ya estén predefinidas por el mismo teléfono y por la misma marca Samsung. Otra cosa importante que hemos visto en el cambio es que la barra de notificaciones se parece mucho a Android 7 Nougat, la cual no despliega totalmente la barra tapando la pantalla, sino simplemente los principales toglets. Ya si deslizas hacia abajo tienes acceso a los demás. Aquí puedes configurar por ejemplo el Wi-Fi ya simplemente con un toque, es decir, ya no te cambia a la pantalla que deberías ver en otras versiones como por ejemplo Lollipop o KitKat, la cual te llevaba pues a otra pestaña. Aquí simplemente lo puedes configurar. El menú de ajustes pues también ha cambiado. Aquí vemos, yo le he puesto un tema negro, normalmente el tema que trae por defecto es blanco, pero ya tenemos muchas otras funciones incluidas y reducidas en menús pues más pequeños. Aquí tenemos funciones avanzadas, cosa que no tenía el Galaxy S7 Edge, pero sin embargo sigue siendo compatible con Game Tools y con Game Launcher, esa herramienta que nos ayudará a grabar gameplays en los juegos, también optimizar los frames que corre cada juego para darle más velocidad, para pues hacerlo más ligero, para que pueda correrlo el teléfono sin ningún problema, entre otras cosas. Tenemos aquí los Quick Launch Button, gestos y todo lo que ya conocemos. Algo importante de esta nueva interfaz es que simplemente si buscas desde aquí puedes encontrar la opción que gustes. Por ejemplo, yo he encontrado la parte de iconos, vamos a buscar iconos y aquí te salen opciones como solo iconos de notificación o marcos de iconos. Son las opciones que tiene este dispositivo. Si tú quisieras encontrar el menú de ajustes de iris, simplemente escribes aquí iris y ya tienes la parte de desbloqueo por iris. Si tú le das un clic, pues te llevará a la configuración de esa opción que tú necesites. Es un punto importante y a mí algo que me ha gustado, porque de este modo no tienes que andar buscando entre las opciones hasta que la encuentres. Simplemente le das en buscar y podrás acceder a esa opción que tanto quieres con una sola palabra. El launcher pues obviamente ha cambiado, se parece un poco al del S7 pero con muchas mejoras, como por ejemplo la barra de búsqueda que tenemos aquí arriba. Aquí podemos editar y organizar, como ya sabemos, en forma alfabética. Tenemos para crear carpetas, pero esta interfaz ha cambiado, se respeta ese fondo borrosito que se ve bastante bien. En el Galaxy S7 me parece que simplemente abre una carpeta blanca o dependiendo el color que tuvieras asignado. Aquí, como pueden darse cuenta, hay distintos colores, pero los colores solamente van a la carpeta y no sobre toda la pantalla. Entonces ese es un nuevo cambio que ha incorporado el Samsung Galaxy Note 7.
En el Galaxy Note 7 la nueva interfaz de cámara ha sido remejorada, simplemente han quitado algunos botones y la han hecho un poco más sencilla pero fácil de usar para el usuario. Tenemos la cámara trasera, como ya lo dijimos, de 12 megapíxeles, y el punto que destaca en esta nueva interfaz de cámara es que permite hacer una grabación y tomar fotografías con el modo HDR activo, y también obviamente podemos activar nuestro flash. El modo HDR, para quienes no saben todavía qué significa a detalle, pues este modo nos permite tomar, o a la cámara le permite
permite tomar la mayor luz posible, por lo tanto las imágenes salen muy nítidas, muy claras, aunque estés en un lugar oscuro. Aquí tenemos la sección de ajustes donde podemos cambiar, como ya sabemos, el tamaño de la pantalla, la resolución de video, la calidad y bueno, un punto importante es que simplemente para cambiar la cámara frontal hay que deslizar con un simple desliz para cambiar la cámara frontal como para la cámara trasera. También nos incorpora estos efectos donde podemos descargar pues muchos más de la tienda de Samsung. Aquí podemos agregar la intensidad o una viñeta a la fotografía y bueno, entre otros ajustes tenemos los modos. Como sabemos, la cámara de Samsung es una de las más completas que existen hasta el momento. Tenemos el modo Pro para ajustar a nuestro gusto, tenemos la incorporación de cámara lenta para tomar algún video en cámara lenta, tenemos captura virtual para tomar fotografías de comida, entre muchas otras cosas que podemos aprovechar con este Galaxy Note 7. E incluso fuera de todos estos efectos podemos ir a la tienda de Samsung y descargar muchos otros que incluye esta cámara del Galaxy Note 7. A continuación estarán viendo una resolución de las imágenes y videos que hemos tomado con este Galaxy Note 7, con los modos que tiene la cámara de este Note 7 para que puedan ver la calidad de imágenes y videos que toma este dispositivo. El rendimiento que tiene en juegos es sorprendente. Como ya lo dijimos, el procesador que incorpora es uno de los últimos, de última generación, uno de los más potentes, y gracias a la memoria RAM que también ayuda a mantener aplicaciones y juegos abiertos, pues los juegos se desempeñan de una forma increíble. Como pueden darse cuenta, aquí estamos jugando un RPG sin problemas, pues obviamente el procesador que incorpora es uno de los mejores que existen hasta el momento, de última generación. Es un dispositivo de alta gama, de los mejores, si no es por decir el mejor actualmente al día de hoy, que tiene la marca de Samsung, y por ello podemos jugar y divertirnos sin ningún problema.
Bueno amigos, hasta aquí la revisión del Samsung Galaxy Note 7, un grandioso dispositivo y en mi opinión personal pues debo decir que es majestuoso, esa es la palabra para definir este dispositivo. Día con día es un dispositivo que nunca te va a defraudar con base al rendimiento, a fotografías, y como mucha gente lo pensaría, es básicamente lo mismo que un S7 o S7 Edge. Como ya sabemos, tiene el mismo procesador, la misma cámara frontal, la misma cámara trasera, y el diseño es prácticamente parecido, a diferencia de algunos detalles como que la pantalla es más grande y que en la parte de atrás se ha pronunciado más la curva, de tal modo que el teléfono lo puedes tomar bien en las manos y no puedes cometer el error de pulsar la pantalla curva que tenía el S7 Edge. En mi opinión personal no creo que valga la pena, si ya cuentas con un S7 o S7 Edge, no creo que valga la pena cambiar al Note 7. Destacando las características o puntos importantes, pues es el incremento de la pantalla, el lector de iris que funciona de una forma precisa y el ES Pen, esa nueva característica que nos permite escribir muchas cosas en la pantalla, utilizar distintas funciones aunque la misma esté mojada, y también la incorporación de la nueva interfaz Grace UX. Son puntos muy importantes, pero que no valdría la pena o bien no utilizaríamos a diario. Por lo tanto, yo creo que no valdría la pena cambiar de un S7 Edge a un Note 7, a no ser que tú estés muy familiarizado con el ES Pen o quieras probar el lector de iris, que déjame decirte, dentro de lugares cerrados funciona muy bien, es muy preciso, pero a la luz solar no funciona. Entonces, en cuanto andes a la calle, no vas a poder sacarle el mayor provecho a ese lector de iris. Y bueno, pues finalmente debo decir que es un dispositivo grandioso. Si tienes un dispositivo Note 5, entre otros, si tienes la posibilidad de pasar al Note 7, te lo recomiendo. Es un dispositivo muy bueno, pero la desventaja es que es algo costoso, entonces habría que pensarla. Y bueno, yo sin duda, si tuviera la posibilidad, lo haría, lo tendría en uso, pero para aquellos que están pensando en cambiar del S7 Edge al Note 7, siento que no valdría la pena. Así que bueno amigos, me despido de ustedes, soy Denec32. No olvides suscribirte al canal, dejar tu comentario porque me interesa saber qué opinas de este dispositivo, el Galaxy Note 7, y nos vemos hasta el próximo video.